Hey toy fans, Aaron here. Tonight, taking a look at the vintage collection release of the Death Star Gunner. This one specifically is focused on Rogue One, so let's head to the table and check this one out. First up, a look at the figure on the card, and overall I think things are looking pretty sharp here. Nice Star Wars Rogue One logo at the top, and contained within that is the Death Star Gunner in his environment, that being the control panel of the Death Star, or shooting the laser. I will say that control panel does feel a little bit cartoonish looking, but hey, I like it. I think it looks good. The image of the Death Star Gunner himself certainly pops out there, and then of course through the blister you see the included figure. On the back side, nothing new here. He's number 147 in the line. The rest of that top half is showing off 6 other figures that are available in the vintage line, or I should say 5, since one of those is this Death Star Gunner. And then off to the right, a small paragraph talking about celebrating the legacy of Star Wars. And now taking a look at him out of the packaging, overall it's a pretty sharp looking figure. One of the first things that struck me though is I felt like his proportions were off, like his legs were too high, body's too short. So I compared him with a couple other figures, and I'll throw up this vintage collection Stormtrooper that recently came out because everything else has been pretty equal to it. And overall what I'm finding is that the proportion of the legs, the upper body is all the same, but what it is it's the placement or the sculpting of the belt. On this Death Star Gunner, as you can see, I level out the camera here, the bottom side of that belt is almost sitting at the top part of the Stormtrooper's utility belt. But the height between those two figures certainly the same. And I will say overall, before I carry on, at least on my figure, the legs are just totally loose at that hip joint. And it has made for a nightmare of getting this figure to stand up and pose the way I want. It's kind of like setting up a domino. Once you get it there, it's good, but one wrong move and it's all going to fall over. Anyways, though, looking at the head sculpt, I mean, it's what you expect the Death Star Gunner to look like. I've always loved the helmet design with it extending out in the back and then coming out on the bottom side to the front. Nice high gloss black finish to it. You got a nice paint job for the Empire logo at the top center of the helmet. And then off to the side, funny thing was I was going to complain about it not sticking straight up, because I was doing some research on this figure and looking at the 501st costume references. Sure enough, it is angled off to the side or inside of the helmet like you're seeing here. So I guess I can't complain about that. But I will say, definitely feel like that antenna is just too thick. It is very soft and bendy, so, you know, if you're a kid tossing this thing around, definitely going to get crinkled up on you or warped around. Kind of wish it was a little bit stiffer and definitely thinner. Otherwise though, nice silver paint job to that, little touch of black at the end, and then down at the base of the antenna where it attaches onto the helmet, got a couple touches of color there. So for the main body and the arms, again, there's not much really to say about this. It's a black uniform with some bits of the undersuit showing, along with that, I guess, a chest padding of some sort. But where it is the undersuit, you got some nice wrinkling being done in there. Gloves are looking pretty good. And I like the softness that vest piece looks like. It's got a pretty nice, I mean, I don't want to say it's overly dull, but it's obviously not a high gloss finish either. So it definitely stands out from the rest of that black uniform. And it is loosely sculpted on there. You could pop the arms off, pop the head off, and you should be able to remove this vest. It's not glued on. Belt sculpting, like I said, sitting a little high, but otherwise detailing to it, that silver painting is looking good. Around the backside, not much really to point out here, just that uniform continues. And then getting for the legs, still that undersuit carries all the way down to the boots. Got some nice wrinkling sculpted in there. And then even the boots themselves are looking pretty good. A little bit of a darker, higher gloss black finish to those boots. So they're standing out a little bit more from that flight suit. As for the articulation, things are pretty standard here, but you do get a great range of motion in the head. Certainly swivels all the way around, comes forward and back at a great range, and even side to side. And then you can also slide that head forward and back with that double neck post in there. Both shoulders swivel all the way around, and they raise up pretty high. You're getting past 90 degrees there. Great bend at the elbow, once again going past 90 degrees, and they both swivel all the way around. Wrist articulation swivels, and his right hand is going to go up and down, and that left hand is going to move side to side on you. As for the waist articulation, that is tucked in underneath this chest piece, but he swivels all the way around, crunches forward and back at a pretty good range also, as well as going side to side. And then the legs, although loose, they still function as they should. Swivel inside the hip and bend straight out. You know, depending how you curve things, you can make them go back. Swiveling at the top of the thigh. Single joint bend at the knee along with the swiveling there. And then at the feet, things are going to come forward and back and also swivel at the top of the ankle. As far as accessories, he comes with a single Rebel Trooper blaster. Honestly, I don't know that they even carried a weapon in the movie. Still feel like it's an odd choice, but as I was on that 501st page looking at the costume, Sure enough, they have this listed as an approved weapon, so what the heck, give them a Rebel Trooper blaster. Sculpting to it certainly looks like it should look like. Pretty nice detailing in there for the side of the blaster. Scope detailing's looking good. As you can see, you got some touches of silver painting in there, and it does sit well in his right hand, allowing that index finger to slide into the trigger. So overall, you know, I gotta say I really do like this figure. I really don't know why, but something about looking at a Death Star gunner or even, you know, some of the Imperial officers, it takes me right back to my childhood. And, you know, I really don't know why that is. When I was a kid, I only had the Imperial officer, but I don't know. Something about these particular figures I've always liked. And aside from the feeling of that belt being too high, I do wish that the joints at his hip were just tighter. Hopefully for those of you out there, though, picking this figure up, you don't run into that issue. And that wraps up this look at the Death Star Gunner. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this figure in the comment section below. And as always, thank you for watching.